Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemmon. Rain is moving in tonight on one of the busiest travel days of the year. It could cause some slowdowns on your evening drive. Let's get a first check of our local forecast for more. Hey there, good evening to you. I'm meteorologist Pamela Gardner. Thanksgiving travel upon us. Roads are getting packed already, and tonight we have a few showers to make things just a little bit trickier. And by Thursday, turning windy, but at least the showers are gone. We dry off for Friday and Saturday, staying nice and chilly, and no big travel impacts for either of those days. But Sunday into Monday, there's a chance for another storm to head our way. More about that a little bit later. Our in-house forecast model shows the scattered showers all across central Mass for this evening, but tapering off by about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, so just a few sprinkles across Worcester and Leominster. And then by Thursday morning, there's a chance for some of that sprinkle activity to mix in with a few flurries. And so overnight lows will drop to the upper 30s, low 40s, and a couple lingering showers are possible. Tomorrow we dry off during the day, but it will turn breezy, and our highs will technically reach the 40s, but feeling more like the 30s thanks to the wind chill. So we have a windy Thanksgiving in store for us. That Sunday storm, I'll show you some early timing and thinking of what type of precip we may be experiencing coming up in your 10-day. Tonight's rain could slow down holiday travel for some, but many already hit the roads this morning. AAA expects a record number of travelers to be on the move this week. Our Matt Restino has more.
Driving on Thanksgiving Eve can be frustrating. It's why many people were already on the road Wednesday morning trying to beat the crowds.
So far, so good. Little trouble getting on to 290 and then getting on the pike, but other than that, it's been moving pretty good.
AAA predicts a 3% increase in holiday travelers this year. Craig Brandon has made the trip from Boston to Buffalo for 20 years. He says the traffic is just as bad now as it's always been.
It doesn't seem to have changed much. People say traffic is worse now than it was 20 years ago, but it doesn't feel like the trip's any different to me.
Some people have unorthodox ways of beating the traffic. Evelyn Novins drives from Virginia to Connecticut every year. This year, she and her husband took a vacation last weekend to try to shorten their Wednesday drive.
We decided to leave early and go to Maine on our way to Connecticut. It doesn't make much sense, but it's been a good trip, and the traffic on off days hasn't been so bad.
A report from Google finds the best time for travel is 2 a.m. Wednesday morning. University of Maine student Ilkido Sandor did just that.
It wasn't too bad because I left at like 2 in the morning, but now that I've passed rush hour, because rush hour went through and it got a little hectic, it seems to be not too bad.
Getting there in time for Thanksgiving is only half the battle. For some, the trip back home can be even worse.
That can be a little hairy in some spots, especially near Boston. But Black Friday now, so who knows what it's going to be like. Hopefully they'll all be in malls.
For those traveling home Thanksgiving night, MassDOT has announced that free coffee will be served at 18 highway rest stops across the state, including all 11 on the Mass Pike. You can pick up your free cup of coffee from 10 p.m. on Thursday until 5 a.m. Friday. In Worcester, Matt Restino, Worcester News Tonight.
Travelers in the area also utilizing the Worcester Regional Airport for the holiday. This is the first time in decades the airport will have 3 major airlines flying out of the city during the Thanksgiving rush. There was a steady flow of travelers this afternoon heading to destinations including Florida and Detroit. For those heading out for the holiday, there was a common theme for why they chose the Worcester Regional Airport.
So easy. I mean, we hopped in the car 5 minutes ago and we're already in. We already are parking and we're going to be in the air very shortly. It just makes all the sense in the world if you're traveling with kids.
If you live in Leominster, Mass, it's very convenient, and it's got the hospitality, JetBlue, nonstop, and it's very easy. It ain't like a zoo coming out of Boston to where I live in Leominster.
And AAA expects nearly 4.5 million Americans will fly this Thanksgiving. The Worcester County District Attorney is urging drivers and pedestrians to stay safe this holiday. DA Joe Early Jr. held a press conference with local and state police. There were 3 fatal car crashes in one day in Worcester and Leicester. Early says the dark was a factor in one of the Worcester crashes. The driver of the other Worcester crash is charged with operating under the influence. Public safety officials say the Thanksgiving holiday can be a dangerous time of year on the roads, and they want people to use common sense and stay safe.
Treat other people on the road as if they were a part of your immediate family. Be aware, be patient, and please slow down. Finally, please don't drink and drive.
We also know from the data that our department collects that the majority of pedestrian accidents occur in the fall during the months of October through December.
Worcester Police Chief Stephen Sargent says pedestrians also need to eliminate distractions and use crosswalks. The department will have extra patrols on the roads through the weekend. A happy homecoming for Worcester firefighter Christopher Pace. We're learning tonight firefighter Pace was released from the hospital. He was injured while working a 4-alarm fire on Stockholm Street earlier this month. Firefighter Pace was able to escape the home with the help of Lieutenant Jason Menard, who lost his life in the line of duty. Pace has been a member of the Worcester Fire Department since March 2018. Governor Charlie Baker signing into law a groundbreaking tobacco ban while also announcing he is shortening his vaping ban. This is the toughest restriction on flavored tobacco in the country right now. The law imposes a ban on all flavored vaping and tobacco products as well as menthol cigarettes. It comes after the governor imposed a temporary ban in September on vaping products, declaring a public health emergency due to hundreds of vaping-related illnesses in the state, including 3 deaths.
It's pretty clear at this point in time there isn't going to be a federal policy on this anytime soon. And in the absence of that, I think we all felt we needed to act.
The governor says his ban on vaping products will be lifted on December 11th. It will allow the State Department of Public Health to come up with new regulations. As for the bill, it will go into effect immediately. However, businesses will have until next year to get rid of their menthol products. A Chicopee man leads police on a chase through several towns. Officers say this isn't the first time they've had a run-in with the suspect. Tonight, he's facing multiple charges. Our Valerie Bell has more.
A little before 2 a.m. Wednesday, when a Chicopee police officer stopped a driver for running a red light. Police say when the officer asked the man if there was anything in the car they should be aware of, he said no, then sped off, leading police on a lengthy high-speed chase.
Onto 91, 391, through Springfield, back on the highway, back into Holyoke, into South Hadley.
The chase ended up on Spring Street. But as you can see here, this road is a dead end. So police say when the driver reached the top of the street, that's when he escaped his vehicle and fled by foot into the woods of what neighbors call a quiet area.
It was kind of scary because it's very dark up here, and although we have sensor lights, I didn't know where the suspect would have gone.
Everybody knows it's a lot of woods here, so they tend to run in the woods, think they're going to get away, and they don't.
Police arrested the man, identifying him as Chicopee resident Michael Janus. They say they know Janus from previous firearm and drug offenses. Officers found a large amount of cash, but say there were no weapons in his car.
There could be something that maybe came out of the car during this pursuit. Again, we don't know that. That's the question, that we would like to know. I mean, it was a simple red light. Why flee?
Police say the suspect also tried to bribe officers to let him go.
He did say to one of the officers that he had a brand new dirt bike and a quad, and they were the officers if he chose to let him go, and obviously that's not going to happen.
It was very unsettling, especially when I saw the line of police cruisers down the street.
With the Thanksgiving holiday this week, neighbors say they feel much safer knowing the man is in custody.
I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, so, if it was nice out, she would be able to go out and play, and I don't think I'd really allow it if I didn't know that this person was actually apprehended.
I feel safe here. As long as people don't bother me, I don't bother people, so I feel safe. And then the cops are good.
Reporting in Chicopee, Valerie Bell, Worcester News Tonight.
Police are warning residents about scammers who pose as government agencies as a way to collect money and gift cards. The emails and phone calls claim to come from agencies like the DEA or IRS. They say you have an arrest warrant or your social security number has been compromised. South Hadley police report some in their community have fallen victim, and one person lost more than $8,000 in the robocall scam.
And even when they were in the bank and when they were in the retail stores buying these gift cards, the offenders were keeping them on the phone line. And, you know, when people get very nervous, so sometimes, you know, they elderly fall prey to this, but in this recent circumstance, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't an elderly person.
Police remind residents the government is never going to ask you to pay money owed to them using gift cards. One letter caused a lot of commotion. A Cape Cod baseball team wasn't happy to see a similar W logo on their own on WooSox merchandise. Tonight, the issue has been resolved. Our Chandler Walsh joins us now with more. Chandler.
Olivia, the Worcester Red Sox announced their team nickname and logos this week. The Wareham Gatemen of the Cape Cod Baseball League considered threatening legal action if the WooSox didn't get rid of one of their standalone W logos. They say they didn't have an issue with the W with the heart in the middle, but the simpler version embroidered on some WooSox merchandise. The Gatemen say they've had this W for decades and had it trademarked in 2014. Their senior vice president says he's had positive conversations with the Worcester Red Sox this afternoon. They plan to settle out of court and will speak again next week. A Worcester lawyer says if this case went to court, they would need to prove there's confusion between the two W's, which would cause damages to the Wareham Gatemen. Meanwhile, Worcester fans don't see an issue with it.
No one owns the letter W. Not even Sesame Street owns the letter W. The letter W is allowed to be used, and typefaces, fonts, generally are not owned by anyone.
How are you going to make it different? You know what I mean? It's 3 lines, 4 lines.
If they were both in Worcester, maybe, arguably, but given that they're 50 miles apart, I see no problem.
The Gatemen say they wish the WooSox great luck in their first year. The WooSox are waiting for more conversations with the Gatemen before they make a comment. In the studio, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.